Hello everybody, what's going on? Jerome here, and today I have for you guys some SAS Zombie Assault Tower Defense gameplay. This is an awesome game that I found on Ninja Kiwi. It's a relatively new game, and it is a lot of fun to play. So without further ado, let me show you guys a little bit about the game, maybe some cool strategies you can use, and the good and bad parts about it. So basically, like all tower defense games, the object of the game is to try and stop the opposition from making it to the very end of the track, and the only way to do that is by building towers and units. Now the thing that sets this game apart a little bit is that when you're building towers, they can only be built on the actual track itself, which is a little weird because most tower defense games you build them to the side. They're kind of like a passive, they're like third person in the game, I guess you could say, but not this one. These ones get right on the front line, and the reason being is because towers in this game can actually be destroyed, which is a little different than most games. Now, the way the tower system works is basically the enemy units will run right by a tower if they're just, like walking in the way. But if you block their pathway with towers, like say if I was to build, we'll put down a bunch of sandbags like so. So if I was to go like this, they'll end up having to destroy their way through it, or certain types of enemies actually target different towers and things like that in order to try and piss you off. So really, it kind of allows you to, it kind of changes up the game a little bit and makes you kind of have to diversify some of your tactics, but it's definitely a lot of fun to play. Now, a cool thing that they also have is something called units, such as snipers and SAS regular soldiers. Now, the cool part about these guys is that you could put them on rooftops to make them invulnerable, basically, because no units can hit them. And the other cool part about them is because sometimes they can be used as a different strategy. What do I mean by that? Well, for whatever reason, unlike the towers where they'll only attack if they're blocked, if they see an enemy unit, such as a sniper or a ground unit like that, they'll end up sometimes, but not always, targeting that unit instead of running towards the actual end of the maze. Notice how that zombie ran up to that sandbag to try and hit the target. So it allows you to make a little strategy where you can put him in a little corner of sandbags, place him there, leave him alone, and the zombies will sometimes be attracted to him, allowing for a diversion, and you can kind of hit them hard with other units, things like that. So it definitely adds a little bit of a different playability factor to it, and I don't know, personally I like that a lot. Now the cool part about this game that makes it so good is that there's such a variety of upgrades. You have things like the MP5 which can be made to shoot further, shoot harder, things such as that, maybe even upgrade his weapon to an assault rifle, which is one of his later upgrades. You can also upgrade these turrets right here, so look, it goes faster shooting, also it has much higher range now, things like that which make it really awesome. A lot of units also have attack speed that you can increase, things such as that kind, so that's always really cool. Now, the one problem with this game, I will say, is that there isn't a lot of unit types. There's only, as you can tell, 5 different units. But the cool part about it is that there's such a diversity of them. So you have the machine gun turret, which is really awesome. Then, of course, you have the typical special tower, they call it, which most tower defense games have, which is basically like an electronic tower that just shoots out and hits everyone within a radius and, targets between them. It's kind of akin to the Monkey Apprentice if you've played Bloons Tower Defense, but to most people that probably means nothing. And they also have yourselves a grenade launcher, and the grenade launcher is really, really powerful, and it's definitely a lot of fun. Now, if you're wondering what that was that just got dropped off, every once in a while the game will drop you off like a benefit package, I guess you could call it. Maybe it's like $600 like usual. Sometimes it's different types of things like a nuke or attack helicopter, med kits, proximity mines, different types of grenades, things like that. And yes, there's a lot of things you can use. Now, one cool thing is notice that the zombie's making it to the end. If I was to click on this one right here, though, a proximity mine, you can actually kill the zombie because as he passes, boom, he ends up dying. Now, you don't have an infinite amount of those, but you do get up to 3 to start with, and you can get more as time goes on. Now, besides the towers I've already shown you guys, all that's left really is the sniper tower, which although isn't the best in the world, let me just delete these towers so they can actually make it to him. He does do really big damage, and he can actually pretty much one-shot kill anyone, but with the certain types of upgrades, you can also get it to the point where he can hit multiple targets at once and things like that just make him completely overpowered, but still a lot of fun to use. Now here's one of the last units, the grenade launcher, and the grenade launcher is really awesome. He can pretty much just hit any type of unit, and he can do a massive blast radius. It doesn't do that much damage to a single one unless you upgrade it, but when there's a group of them, it's definitely well worth it, as you can tell like I just did right there. Now, finally, there's there's 2 more aspects of the game that I like a lot, and that is the barbed wire, which actually ends up doing damage to them. So say you were to block their pathway like this, any zombie that wants to come on the track is going to instantly take some damage, which is really awesome. And the other cool feature is that of sandbags. The reason sandbags are so cool is because if you block the whole track, then they're going to have to break it down, and it's going to cause massive time damages to them because you can shoot them all the while, and you can also do other things to them. Now another cool feature is that you can actually upgrade your sandbags. So let's say I wanted to get integrated barbed wire, so now it has the ability of barbed wire does damage, and something called jersey barrier, which makes it so that it's almost impenetrable. Now if I was to set this up and I was to put a bunch of units behind it, it's literally almost impossible to break through. So let me show you guys. We can build these SAS units, and I'll show you guys what happens. So finally, there's another cool thing about this game is that if a unit is to die, it doesn't necessarily get taken off the track. It just has a cooldown period of like 15 to 20 seconds, and then after that it's put right back in the game. So you don't have to worry about like taking massive damage, losing a unit, and then you're like, oh, I lost all that money. No, it just, you lose the unit for like one single round pretty much, and then he'll come right back. And even if that round is a long round, then maybe you'll get him back before the end of it. Now finally, the last feature is that of the attack helicopters, nukes, and things like that. So I just called in an attack helicopter now so you guys can see how much damage it does. Notice how whenever those big butcher type units come at you, it'll try and take them out. Look at that. All that damage being done to it is mostly from the attack helicopter. It can also shoot hellfire missiles, things like that. And there's many other types of upgrades. I can't show you the Typhoon Bomber just because I haven't gotten one yet, but I can show you guys the nuke later on in the next wave. And just one last thing, if you're wondering what that type of unit was that you just saw, that's called a butcher. And what he does is he tries breaking down any barrier at all costs. So I'm just going to really quickly, I'm going to get rid of these units here so that you guys can kind of see the damage that the nuke can do. So let's try and delete these guys, try and store up some units here, and we did just get incendiary grenades as well. So let's see, we got that all set up. And now, if we didn't have that attack helicopter shooting them, it'd be a lot easier to show you, but let's just do this right here, and bam! Pretty much kills every single thing within a reasonable vicinity, not the entire map, but pretty much like half the map, maybe 3/4 of the map, so it does a lot of damage overall, and it's a lot of fun to use. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This has been SAS Zombie Assault Tower Defense. If you guys did enjoy, you should hop on over to my channel at JeromeASF. I do a lot of content like this all the time. I do Minecraft, Flash Player, you name it, and I love to film it. So anyway guys, thank you guys once again. Hope I showed you a new game you can play, and as always, have a nice day.